We have to check for tweet for this next story. You guys should tweet in for this next story on Lagos Talks 913 at Twitter. Oh, we've got some tweet. We've got. I like the Twitter engagement. Okay, we'll take it for because I'm done with this topic. You are late. Let's go for the next topic. The next topic is follow up on NSAS. Nigerians on social media ask EFCC to probe Oba of Lagos over stolen $2 million and 17 million naira. I don't even have to read the story, but let me. So yeah, I'm back. So basically, the Oba of Lagos said the youth of Lagos Island liberated $2 million and 17 million naira from his palace. Is the man a bank? Are you a bank? No wonder these Nigerian big men walk around with such confidence. That's how I'll be walking to if I know that I have $2 million under my bed. I mean, anyway, let me read this story. Nigerians on social media have called on the Economic and Financial Crime Commission to investigate the Oba of Lagos, Rilwan Akiolu, for money laundering. The monarch has said $2 million and 17 million were stolen when youth attacked his palace on October 21, 2020 in the violence that erupted after the NSAS protests. Oba Akiolu, whose term of office, known as the Okpa Ashe, was also taken away by the hoodlums who broke into his palace during the riot, spoke on Wednesday in Lagos. He said, "I will support anything that will move Lagos forward. I have appealed to the federal government to assist Lagos with what we have suffered. The incident that happened here from October 20th to 23rd is so saddening. The destruction we suffered in Lagos is so enormous than in any other part of the country. My buildings were burned, including vehicles used to generate income. I can now publicly say they stole $2 million and 17 million naira from my palace. Those who committed the offense would not have done that if they knew the implication. But as a father, I won't place any curse on them." I mean, let me not even just continue the story. Let me not continue the story. Because my chest is paining me. My chest is paining me. The man said they stole his $2 million from the palace and 17 million naira. My own problem is this: Lagos Island boys, you people are stingy. You people are stingy. So that collect that kind of back on top NSAS, our street no feel you. They don't even see me yaba share around the areas. The Oba say they stole it from him new. You know. My question is this: so when he was giving this kind of statement, when he was giving this, saying this, how did he live there without getting another round of mob action? You know, some questions. I mean, how can a public official publicly say he lost $2 million from his palace in a neighborhood where there's no school there? What's $500,000? There's no hospital there with $1 million of medicine for the millions of people living in that Lagos Island, you know. But the Oba is there sitting on $2 million and 17 million naira, and I'm sure he was saying this in front of some pressmen, and they just say, "Oh, sorry sir." He said he's going to place calls on the. He didn't want to place calls. I mean, he should place his calls, which we will return it back to sender. You know, because this kind of thing, I don't even understand this country where it's going. You know, Oba of Lagos has $2 million under his bed with 17 million naira, you know, and that's not even somebody in a elected position. This is an appointed person, you know, taking that is under taxpayers' benefit. Basically, the Oba of Lagos is a welfare baby. Yes, he's a welfare baby. The state takes care of him and his community that is supposed to be what he's representing. Go and look at Lagos Island. Go to the market. See how when it rains, see how all those places look at the children when they'll be running. I mean, yet he has waking up and sleeping with $2 million. what use can $2 million in cash be for this kind of country sitting under a man's bed? That's how they found $42 million in one apartment. Whistleblower. Nigerian government now defrauded the whistleblower. You people remember that? If you used to pay him his money, after they tell anybody that whistleblow, they give you 5%. The guy whistleblow finished. Federal government say if they pay him the money, he go crazy. Nigeria sha. Anyway, let's get into this topic. People. Let's get into this topic. Welcome to the show. Ebuka, welcome back. Let me give you another bit. If he is not here today to stop our bromance, let's go.
The ministry is moving where?
He's moving forward.
He is moving forward, my brother. You see that Oba case? It's just like Oba is the cashier, Oba is the treasurer, Oba is the executive, Oba is the financial treasurer. He is the one that is necessary to all the money. You get? Yeah, they say in a land where there is only one king that has one eye, everybody is looking onto him. Until one person speak against these lines that collected this money, like you said, they are heartless. So that kind of money move from that place. They don't even see them. They don't even show.
I say, man, that's the Ebuka. You dey feel me?
No souvenir, no give away.
Temileko, kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀?
They carry which kind of country go like this? If they pay me, which kind and all over they talk about press too.
Openly.
So I understand about like one man say, Oba, the people go come for palace, the Oba will give them more surgery, small surgery, take this nobody. But for this kind of money to be there, and people don't suffer, and the government says that's to show we never expect to nothing like it. Everyone just be unchanged. I didn't really go.
No, thank you, Jare Ebuka. Let's take some of the Twitter messages for this one as well before we go back to the phone line. Let's see if anybody's talking about. So Ukochukwu Madi says on Oba Gate, the real Oba Gate, that is the name. Oba Gate. This is a scandal. With the property and hungry people living around the Oba Palace suffer, you won't believe such cash is there. Morning, guys. Not be lie. Me, ma, 2 million baht. Which kind of money did this? What kind of money do people have in this country? Because me, I'm still not understanding. I'm not getting it. What kind of money? People, I say this struggle work, what person they do. So I say I have to check my future prospects. Because now we are fighting struggle. Oba sit down 2 million. I don't see anything. Streets liberate 2 million. I don't still see anything. What's going on now? What's going on? Let me fight for myself. Let's take the line. Hello everybody. Who is out there?
Hello.
Please talk to me. My heart is beating. Tunji from Italy. Welcome to International Caller. Let me ring bell for you. Please, Tunji, talk to me.
I was very short.
Tunji, wait.
Understand what
before you explain, talk to me.
It's just like saying that he has a spacecraft in his house and then the people around him have wheelbarrow or omolanke.
Imagine, but wait, Mr. T, before you continue, you have to talk to me softly, gently, and my heart is beating fast. From this morning, I just heard this one. It's beating very fast. So I need you to just take your time and talk to me gently. Slowly, because my heart is beating fast. I don't want us to have any kind of problem inside the studio. Yeah, go, give me your analysis. But gently, please. My heart is beating fast.
Yeah, so I'm saying again that it's more like you're about saying he has a spacecraft in his house, while the people around him have omolanke or wheelbarrow. Thank you.
That your analysis is short, Mr. T. See, that's a short punch. And all the people that are the elders in this country, they are the ones that we should. I tell people, I said, the problem with this country is not the way Nigerians behave. No, it's the way the leadership behaves in this country. Because young children, professionals, young adults, undergrads, they see these things and they are trying to work hard to make it in life. And you see that your elders are supposed to have your back, are supposed to protect you, are supposed to advise you, are selfish, think only about themselves. Hence, everybody in society becomes selfish, thinking about themselves because they think that's the way to make it in this country. Which is very wrong, and I don't even know how to put it. It's quite depressing. Let's take another call on the topic. I mean, this 2 million is not small.
Hello?
Hello, who is speaking, please?
Yeah, sure. Good morning.
Good morning. Please, I don't know whether you know the rule of this topic. On this topic, you have to talk to me gently. My heart. Thank you. My heart is beating fast.
Urban and cash out zone. Those boys don't cash out like that. People to clear some small things they don't clear. But that put that kind of money for a house. You ain't balance the people there. So you know that?
Yes,
the whole zone when they go for that island, you know the part that you close up those for some kind of area there.
Not be lie.
And that kind of money they there. You just got in the street. And those men don't cash out now. When they swear for them, how do you think they use work when they're going to say people they're hungry? Wow. Thank you, Shehu.
Thank you. No, the Oba of Lagos should stop all this is cost up and down that they will cost. All this thing, they work. They work, when I forget that thing. It's not only when you want to punish and curse African people that you remember African tradition. But then every other day of the year, you are a Muslim. But after they thief your 2 million, now you want to cause fire. Yeah. African gods are not your bodyguard or henchmen like the thugs that you send all over the place. You people, you have no power. Even if there was power, it has left you, because you are betraying the land already. The land that is the source of the power. How can you betray it and call on the power to come and help you? Please, those boys, the only thing I'm still complaining that, please, I want to pray for you. So please send me something. I'm a musician. I've not worked since December 2019. I've not worked. I've not earned money. Let's thank the ancestors for Lagos talks that looked at me and employed me in the meantime. Say, let's remove hunger from your life. So you people can look at me, these boys, wherever you are. And it was people are living normal life. We go down. Listen, I'm telling you, $2 billion. The next breaking I'm attending. Please, anybody that is planning it, send me info. Send info, please. What did it? Do we have another call? Let's take another call on the issue. Hello, who is speaking? Welcome to the show. Good morning. Who am I talking to? Nigel. Abi?
Sure. This one to you have to I don't know. See, one thing about our story, like I said, I believe he may not have had that $2 million under his bed. But to believe there is some certain people that will call you up by your FLA, send your account number. Before you know it, he will have more than that $2 million. Which day are you going to make up to good news in this country? Imagine what Sheriff Dima said, that without giving amnesty to vanity, Nigeria will never happen. Every day bad news. Order now came out, there's still $2 million. How much is the palace? I beg. Baba.
My brother.
I beg, no, they slap ourselves.
What you see? And the man is making a valid point in terms of how the elites in this country prop up our political institutions but abandon the people. For example, if once it's election time, I think the elites donated about, how much did they donate for election campaign for PDP in 2015? I think 25 billion or something. Everybody pledged money for PDP's war chest. They will donate 20 billion to APC. But I saw an advert of Unilag trying to raise 1 billion endowment fund. Yes, one of our foremost universities in Nigeria does not have 1 billion naira in its endowment fund. Harvard endowment fund alone, minus its own money that it makes, the endowment fund that the elites of America put into Harvard alone, that they have in their account, to run that 65 billion US dollars. You know, and I'm not even pulling this number out of thin air. I've done the research on that thing before today, so I know. So you see them willing to donate, buy house up and down the place, but to actually help the people. Why is that so hard? Especially when everything that these people get is from our commonwealth. You know, it's not as if anybody in Nigeria, you know, add to Nigeria, like you can say Bill Gates, for example, add Microsoft to America to be what he is, or Jeff Bezos had Amazon. These people make all their money from our commonwealth, selling and extracting and selling what belongs to all of us in our name, because it's a license, and their license is in the name of Nigerian people. You know, yet they cannot turn around to use those things to help the Nigerian people, to help themselves. You know, it's just a shame. It's a shame. It's a big shame. You know, and being on the other side of the coin, you know, you see other countries where their leaders and their elites actually are even willing to commit atrocities to provide basic things for their people. You know, they will gain, but at least, you know. So for me, I just don't understand the mindset of the Nigerian political and business elite. I don't know. I think their mindset is the real problem of this country. They have to change it. They have to become more communal in their thinking. You know, they have to become more a part of the country. You know, not that they are running the country. You know, the country is not the company. And every excuse they give in Nigeria is like the excuse they give you in a company. You know? So, I mean, so we need to, and also they're just calling for this to be probed. They are right. The Oba of Lagos should be probed. And they can't be saying $2 million is gifts. We should be giving him gifts of 2 million. Should be accepting such gifts? For what purpose? Eh? Why are they giving him the gift? You know, that's unethical. He doesn't have any reason to, you know, especially when the community is not even seeing that kind of money being pumped into it. That's my own issue. You know, every day you wake up, you see all these poor, suffering people around you. I'm not saying put money in their pocket. I'm saying fix their surroundings. Put water that they can drink. Put lights so that they can see. Give their children schools to go to. Put healthcare there for them. Redistribute this wealth. Stop hiding it, $2 million inside your house. You know, that's legacy. That's legacy. Yeah, you won't make money from such investments, but your name will be on there and people will know you've done that for your community. You know, but this people don't believe in legacy, Sha. Maybe that's why. You know, they really don't believe in legacy. So yeah, let's touch on this last topic for today. You know, or maybe we can squeeze another topic in after this. This topic has been going on for a while. Insurgency. You know, Northeast governors doubt FG's commitment to plan regional security outfit. So this was published yesterday, March 4th. It says the Northeast Governors Forum has said the federal government is not showing commitment to ending the insurgency ravaging the region. It said it was making plans to form a regional security outfit to help in tackling the challenges. The chairman of the forum and governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, disclosed this in his speech at the opening ceremony of the 4th Northeast Governors Forum at the Government House, Bauchi on Wednesday. The Punch reports in the Northeast because, you know, just like this, our NIN registration, right? So the NIN registration is for national security purposes, so that people can be identified and their line. They don't use their lines for any kind of criminal things that the government cannot identify. You know, so but at the same time, many of our politicians are stakeholders in the telcos. Many of the people that are telling us that they will cut all your line if you don't register will lose money if they follow through on that. So now every day they are postponing the threat. First it was December, now it's January, then it's February, now it's April, because, you know, compliance is less than 40%, I heard, and they will lose majority of their customers. That's the only reason why they are still extending. So now you go to the northeast and look at our insecurity, the crisis we have, Boko Haram, terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, armed robbers, and all of that. You find that a lot of these people are also vested in the military-industrial complex of Nigeria. As small as it is, they are making a lot of money selling and buying arms to both sides. So for that reason, you know, they don't want to end the insurgency. They don't want to see the insurgency end. And as I said before, you know, it is high time we as Nigerian people really decide what we want to, you know, do with our future, with our life. Because what we are living now is our future. Right now is the future, you know, because what you are doing now is determining everything that will happen tomorrow, for maybe the next 10 years, you know. So what are we saying we want for our kids, for our future? What are we saying we want for ourselves as a nation? You know, when we continue to sit back and watch people mortgage our future, mortgage our children's future, mortgage our lives for personal interest. I mean, if people are doing great things with all this catastrophe they are orchestrating, you know, if they were inventing, if they were innovating, if they were creating a vibrant economy, you know, they were creating a dynamic society, they were helping young Africans reach their potential, but to do this, they were, you know, to make this omelette, they were breaking some eggs. I will understand. But when you see that these things are just being done so that people can accumulate material things, then it becomes so heartbreaking. It becomes really heartbreaking, you know, when Rolls Royce is more important than your community's healthcare. I mean, so the issue now is not even the fact of that community healthcare anymore or whatever. The issue is that what kind of person are you? You know, this goes to the fundamentals of our humanity in this country. This whole insurgency issue, you know, because we as Nigerian people know the Nigerian people that can afford to buy arms. At the magnitude that they buy these arms, you know, we as Nigerian people, we know the violence that our government used to clamp down on peaceful protesters, you know. But where is that same response when it comes to people that are armed, people that are, you know, actually trying to kill the people of this country, people that are actually a threat to our national security? You know, people are talking about giving them amnesty and all of that, because that's the way in Nigeria. That's been the way in Nigeria. You know, that's been the way in Nigeria for a long time. You know, where we continue to reward evil behavior. Yes, that's how Niger Delta 2 militants say they are fighting for their people. They got amnesty. Everybody is a billionaire. Have they delivered one school to their communities? Those communities that they say they were fighting for before they got amnesty. So is their amnesty justice? Is their amnesty the entirety of the justice that those communities deserve? I mean, look at what they did in the NDDC, the so-called Niger Delta Development Commission. Look at the whole. Akpabio was in the Senate, and all these men were made by militants in the Niger Delta. So now they all got paid. How has that translated to development for the people of that region? How has that translated to any kind of environmental benefits for the people of that region? Their rivers are still just as polluted. The soil is polluted. They cannot grow anything. You know, so when these rich men continue to mortgage the lives of poor Nigerians to get money to take their loved ones to Dubai and buy them Gucci. I mean, it's really sad. And this for me is what is most atrocious of it all. It is the end of it. You know, for me, money must always be a means to an end. You know, I never judge anyone by how they accumulate wealth, especially if they are black and living in this oppressive state called Nigeria. I can never judge you. What I judge is what you do with that money. You know, it's what determines the kind of person that you are. It's what determines if you are human in the way that I classify what a human must be. You know, and a human must be that to be a human, you must be that which, you know, is in tune with the all. You must understand that you are part of the all. You know, that is what a human is. You know, maybe that's why the religious people say it's the Almighty, because the all is definitely mighty. You know, but people just continue to do these things and mortgage our lives for petty things, for self, you know, and then they market this lifestyle to African people as if luxury is the only expression of wealth. You know, and I'm going to say today on this show, you know, like, for what, if you don't take anything away from anything I say in my life, we must understand that luxury is not the only expression of wealth. Wealth can be expressed in so many different ways, so many humane ways that our own political and business elites in this country just don't care about, because they are not humans enough to tap into that, you know. So for me, that's really what the issue is here for me, hearing this insurgency, and you know, and then the governors come out and they start talking as if they are the victims of the insurgency. You understand? Because the victims of the insurgency, you know, and that's why I'm surprised even Nigerians, when we talk in the southwest, you know, and we want to, you know, lump everybody in the north into this, you know, hateful bile that people are spilling everywhere. You know, look at the amount of people that have been killed in the north. Imagine the amount of people Boko Haram alone has killed in the north. The amount of people that they've killed in Benue, the amount of people they've kidnapped in Niger State, in Borno State, in Yobe State, in Yola, in Kano. I mean, our brothers are dying, people, you know, so we need to, you know, even though people spend a lot of money to make us as African people believe that African lives are cheap, we as African people must now reverse that trend. We must be the ones to say that, you know, we care about ourselves enough to stand up for ourselves. When people say that we don't matter, we shouldn't go and try to prove to them that we matter. Our action is what will tell them that we matter. You know, let's take maybe a few calls on this. We've been talking about this insurgency in the north now for a month. I'm tired of it. You know, but we shall overcome.
So, me, I am tired.
Who am I speaking with now?
My baby Sebastian.
How are you doing, Sebastian? Welcome to the People's Perspective. Oh, you're not your own, give me, make a year.
Yeah. Now, microfinance bank die over Lagos for house.
My brother, let me tell you, ask me that too. That's the first question. That was the first thing I asked. You know.
The boys when they collect the money, when they don't say boys they street, I put the street boys for street. Why they don't share the money?
Then they behave like the urban, and let me say like they talk now.
I totally agree with your opinion that sometimes it's not important how you get your money, but to me I think that is very, very paramount. How you spend it makes a whole lot of sense. But however, how can an embassy have $2 million in it in tax? Meanwhile, if you are traveling on the road and police sees you 100,000 naira, now Allah not be for you.
My brother, I know easy.
No, I am trying to tell you because this I have experienced. Right? A first-hand experience. In fact, it's not of the fact that the driver insisted and the entire passenger in that vehicle insisted that we are not leaving here until you release him. Probably maybe I have gone now. And this is true life experience that I have experienced. So the point I'm trying to say, yes, we know when you are going out to declare when you have more than $10,000. We know that. But however, okay, Lagos Island, and go and see now, buildings are collapsing, children are dying, boys are hungry, and yet you have $2 million in your house and 17 million naira. So this one passed me. I don't know what you do. You know your father normally talk. Go say second base, Jare.
I beg my brother, let me lie. You talk second base, Jare. Please,
Please,
please, if anybody that is staying in Oba of Lagos house, in case you have information that Oba is accumulating again, please call me. I want to come and do show. Let me see. Yeah, you can spray me. Let me just spray me at least.
My brother.
Thank you. You too. Ewo. See that kind bar. I wish Mastercraft is listening to this show. Me and me, we have one song coming and called Shabadush Kaba. That's the kind bar. That's Shabadush Kaba. Hey! How does one sleep with that kind of money in the same house? Are you the Oga of the house, or is that money that is the Oga of the house? Because if I wake up in the morning, I'll first run to where the money is to check it. If it's, oh no. I will sleep in I will roll it. Oh, Oba of Lagos. Anyway, all I have to say to all the old political elites, business elites in Nigeria, in Africa, is that the only expression of wealth is wealth is not the only expression of. Luxury is not the only expression of wealth. You people can do better. You all can do better. You can be more imaginative. And even though you don't know how to imagine these things, these ways to spend this, call me. Call me. Trust me, I'll give you great social ideas that will put your name. Put your name on the. They'll put your name write your name in the history books forever. As a good person, like people like Rockefeller, people forget every atrocity they've committed. You got all the buildings their names are on now in America that people remember. Rockefeller, as if is this nice guy, this nice family. The Waltons or Walmart, all these. We need to emulate some of that for our people. You need to redistribute the wealth. Stop sitting down on $2 million in your house. No wonder all the girls in Ireland have gone to do body surgery. $2 million. I've never had $2 million in my house. If I get $2 million for my house, cash, nobody will sleep for my streets. It's on now. It don't happen. Anyway, this is another. Let's take one more call before we end the show today. Hello, caller.
Hey, Shehu, my brother.
Who is on the line, please?
I greet you. My name is Uche. I'm currently in Apapa at the moment.
Uche, I go down the area. Apapa na hello.
We would come work for Apapa now. We don't consider ourselves as Nigerians because the suffering alone.
My brother, listen. I go Apapa last Saturday. Hey. Now they try.
Saturday now.
My brother,
come here on a working day.
When I go on Saturday, I say I imagine what a Monday here will look like. I say never.
Brother.
Never. Even they won't give me $2 million and 70 million naira. I'm not coming.
Anybody who has any business in Apapa should be praying for long life because this care is not taken. This route alone shortens lifespan. That one another story, my brother. This $2 million naira, $2 million, my brother. This country.
The thing they pay you, sir, your heart is beating fast. I can tell.
My brother, how will you not go pay me? How will you not go pay me? When I know what I go through every day on this Apapa road to get to work and go home, and then one man is lounging, sitting comfortably with $2 million under his bed and then 17 million under his pillow.
Hey!
My brother, there are some things God will not forgive.
I they tell you, even though God won't forgive, we no go agree.
I'm telling you,
we no go agree.
But you see, the question I ask is this.
Please subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Subscribe. Share this video. Subscribe to this channel. Tell your friends to subscribe to this channel.